Masters Vessel Classical Academy, Primary Section. On the roll.
Hello, the children of the Masters Vessel Classical Academy. You are welcome to today's virtual class. My name is Mrs. Odinamadu Felicia. The subject we are about to do now is agriculture. And this agriculture is for Basic 3. The topic for today's lesson is fruit crops. Fruit crops. Objectives of the lesson. Our objectives will be to 1. Define fruit crops. 2. Identify local fruit crops and mention 5 of them. 3. Identify and mention 2 annual fruit crops. 4. Identify and list 2 perennial fruit crops. 5. Mention 5 fruits that can be planted or produced within our local environment. These are the objectives you must achieve at the end of this lesson. Then to achieve the objectives, we will go through 5 processes. 1. Definition of fruit crops. 2. Identification of local fruit crops. 3. Identification of annual fruit crops. 4. Identification of perennial fruit crops. 5. Examples of fruits that can be planted or produced within our local environment. In your previous lesson in agriculture, you discovered the uses of tuber crops. Now, what are the uses of tuber crops? Yes? What are the uses of tuber crops? Good! Uses of tuber crops are, they are sold by the farmers to make money. They are sold by the farmers to make money. Tuber crops are used as food to supply mainly carbohydrates to man and farm animals. Tubers are used as livestock feed. They are used as livestock feed. Yes, the fresh tubers as well as discarded peelings and leaves can be fed directly to pigs, goats, and sheep. They can be made into flour for making bread, cake, and biscuits. That cake you used to enjoy during your birthday party. They were made with flour. And flour, we got the flour from tuber crops. Now let's delve into the lesson proper. Remember our topic, fruit crops. Fruit crops. Now, what are fruit crops? Before we go into fruit crops, let's talk about fruit first. Let's start from the word fruit. Fruit is the seed-bearing part of a plant, often edible and colorful. It's the seed-bearing part of a plant, often edible and colorful. Edible in the sense that you can take it without harm. It cannot harm you. It's just meant for consumption. It can also be said to be any sweet and edible part of a plant. It can also be said to be any sweet and edible part of a plant. Now, let's identify local fruit crops. Some fruits contain only one seed. For example, mango, while others have many seeds. For example, guava. Now let's see. Can you give me some examples of these local fruit crops we are talking about? What are the examples of local fruit crops? Orange. Good. Orange is a local fruit crop. Can you give me another example? Good. Fantastic. You children are making me proud. Purple. That's another fruit crop. We have banana. Banana is another fruit crop. We have mango, coconut, avocado pear, cashew. We have guava, tomato. We have pepper, and so on. Now let's talk about annual fruit crops. Annual fruit crops. Annual fruit crops, they are those fruit crops that live for 1 year or 1 season. They can only stay for 1 year. They can never exceed 1 year. Such fruit crops, we call them annual fruit crops. Now we have some examples of annual fruit crops. They are tomato, pepper, melon, and so on. Tomato, pepper, and melon, they can just stay for 1 year, just for 1 season. They can never exceed it. The next one is perennial fruit crops. Perennial fruit crops, they are those fruit crops that live for more than 2 years. They can live for 2 years, for 4 years, for 5 years, for 10 years, and so on. We call them perennial fruit crops. They can live from 3 years up. Remember what I told you, that annual fruit crop, they stay for only 1 year. But for perennial, they live for more than 2 years. Now let's see some examples of these perennial fruit crops. They are mango, pawpaw, orange, banana, guava, and so on. Now let's see fruits, crops that can be planted or produced within our local environment. There are some fruit crops that can be planted or produced within our local environment. Most fruit crops can be planted or produced within our local environment. Yes. Examples of such fruit crops are, we have cashew. You can see cashew around your house. We have orange. We have pawpaw. We have banana. Oil palm tree. Avocado pear. Coconut. African pear. And so on. These fruit crops, they can be produced within your environment. So far, you have discovered that fruit crops are those crops that produces fruits from their flowers. You also identified some local fruit crops. Examples, orange, coconut, pawpaw, banana, mango, cashew, etc. Then in addition, you identified annual and perennial fruit crops. Furthermore, you have seen those fruit crops that can be planted or produced within our local environment. Now let's go to assignment. You know, this assignment is very important. You must do it and submit it. Number 1, what are fruit crops? 2, mention 5 fruit crops. 3, mention 2 annual fruit crops. 4, list 3 perennial fruit crops. 5, mention 5 fruit crops that can be planted or produced within our environment. All right. I know you have gotten the assignment. In our next lesson, we will talk about uses of fruit crops. And I want to tell you This is where we will wrap it for today's virtual class. I want you to always stay in your house. If you must leave your house, remember what I told you. Always go out with your face mask. My name remains Mrs. Odinamadu Felicia. I want to say goodbye for now. Bye. I love you.